ATC 104 O'Hare Ground, Introduction to O'Hare Ground for the Tier 1 endorsement for our S2 students. Tower cap positions. The great majority of this document will be out of our SOP and LOA documents found in the training packages and the SOP and LOA folders. As a ground controller, the first position that you will open, combined position, would be the inbound ground position with a frequency of 121.9. We also have provisions for multiple towers, clearance delivery, ground metering, and ramp frequencies for events. Runway configuration, using the table, determine the runway configuration. Account for other safety considerations, including to be limited to weather, runway closures, volume, efficiency, etc. I would suggest using the D-ATIS website or the Real World ATIS and what the real world is doing, and you really can't go wrong. But we do have the listings here for arrival and departure runways, given configuration listed in priority order. In east flow, runways 10 center, 10 right, and 9 left are preferred. Arrival runways when the reported ceiling is at or above 800 feet and visibility is 2 statute miles or greater. And so you can see west flow there, 9 knots or less. Our primary runway in priority order would be runways 28 center, 27 center, 27 right for arrivals, and departing 22 left, 28 right, and 27 center. And of course you can see the east flow, or when we would use the 4s or the 22s. Our ATC policy also in the training package under the policy folder for using the TDLs, airports with PDC capability, which of course would be O'Hare, Milwaukee, and Midway. If possible, clearance be issued through the PDC using TDL's website. If departure clearances cannot be issued via PDC, issue the clearance verbally. And of course our ASD. When runway is closed, the following procedures shall be met. Advertise the closure on the ATIS. An X shall be placed on the closed runway, a red box drawn around any portion of runway not available for taxi. When runway or taxi is inactive, unusable, or restricted, a yellow trait box and an X shall be placed on the ASD indicating the runway is inactive. We do have videos for our ASD, how to set this up, how to use it. Do remember that it is persistent, so from one user to the next, anything that you do or leave, however you leave the ASD will be that way for the next user. Generally speaking, we ask you to not to play with this or mess with this. It should be set up the way it needs to be set up. And we have a few guys who are pretty good about setting that up as it should be set for real world. But again, we do have ASD videos on our YouTube channel. You can take a look at those. Also STARS videos. Seeing as O'Hare is a radar tower, you can also look at the STARS video. Where SOP, clearance delivery responsibilities, clearance delivery must issue IFR clearances consistent with an initial fix and altitude depicted on the O'Hare SID, unless the aircraft is landing within the Chicago TRACON airspace, our tech airports, in which case we would just give radar vectors and 5,000 for the clearance. If possible, issue PDC clearances using the TDLs as we mentioned, issue RNAV capable aircraft via RNAV fixes on the O'Hare SID, assign initial altitude of 5,000 feet to all IFR aircraft, and amend requested altitude in accordance with the following. Basically, our southbound aircraft need to be at or above 7,000 or 8,000 for the south SAT traffic, and Milwaukee landers would always be given 7,000 feet. VFR operations clearance delivery must prepare a strip containing aircraft call sign, type, and equipment suffix, requested altitude and direction of flight, and assigned beacon code. For SOP, VFR beacon codes would be 5101 to 5177, which I do believe CRC is still working on implementation. So for now, just use the beacon codes that are given by CRC in the flight plan. And then, of course, VFR and direction of flight in the route field, VFRW for westbound, let's say. And clearance delivery is only responsible for entering flight plan information and issuing a squawk code. Local control must issue or will issue the Class Bravo airspace clearance. Ground metering must only be decombined during high volume of periods when ground control is open. Sequence aircraft prior to leaving ramp areas. When advised an aircraft is ready for taxi, ensure all aircraft have the current ATIS. Of course, we're going to enter that in the strips. Advise the pilot to monitor ground control on the appropriate frequency. Issues revised or amended clearances, workload permitting, or advise aircraft to contact clearance delivery for a revised clearance. Notify C-90 when aircraft landing within C-90 airspace or when non-SID aircraft are taxiing and obtain an acknowledgement. Notify TMC when en route spacing program aircraft are taxiing, maybe and again during an event. Provide pertinent weather and traffic information to pilots. Instruct aircraft requesting pushback on movement areas to contact inbound ground control. Ramp control, again, another event position. Must only be decombined during high volume periods where ground control is open. When multiple ramp controls are desired, refer to Appendix B in the O'Hare Air Traffic Control Tower SOP for jurisdictional boundaries. There is a picture there. Control non-movement areas. Give pushback clearances and separate aircraft entering the ramp area. Instruct aircraft requesting pushback onto a movement area to contact inbound ground control. Refer to Appendices B and C for jurisdictional boundaries and gate locations. Our SID, our O'Hare 8 SID, is a radar vectored SID. Aircraft flight plans must follow the C90 Milwaukee departure fix sheet with the fixes on the O'Hare 8 as an initial aircraft fix. The O'Hare 8 has crossing restrictions. The DME arcs around the Chicago VOR there. That's why we'll say climb via SID with our clearances out of O'Hare. SID also has departure fixes, frequencies per fix when decombined. Typically, we only have one departure controller online, but you can get that during your briefing. There may be multiples during an event. A sample clearance using the O'Hare 8 departure, United 1 O'Hare ground, cleared to Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport via O'Hare 8 departure. Radar vectors pumpkin, then as filed. Climb via SID, top altitude 5,000. Departure frequency 119.0, squawk 2254. And the reason we might say top altitude 5,000 is because some of these guys don't have the charts or read charts very well. So not only do we want to issue the climb via, but we also want to mention the top altitude of 5,000 feet. They should also be looking here at speed restrictions here. Turbojet departures in all directions maintain 250 knots until advised by ATC. It even says down here, all aircraft with the crossing restrictions at or above maintain 5,000 or assigned altitude. If unable to comply, advise ATC as soon as practical or as possible prior to departure. Another standard O'Hare clearance example, United 2039 Heavy O'Hare ground, cleared to LaGuardia Airport via O'Hare 8 departure, radar vectors mobile, then as filed. Climb via SID, top altitude 5,000. Expect level 39010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 119.0, squawk 3107. And of course, if you don't have a radar departure controller on over top, your departure frequency would simply be Unicom 122.8. Note, altitude flight level must be stated if not on a departure procedure, if the aircraft will not be flying via a departure procedure, or if filed altitude flight level is amended. O'Hare clearance local VFR or VFR departure, including helicopters, November 123 Alpha Bravo, O'Hare ground, departure frequency 119.0, squawk 5101. Again, just go ahead for now, give the beacon code that's in the CRC flight plan. Departure frequency only required for flight following. These are typically GA aircraft parked at the ramp and do not need to call for push or given pushback instructions from a gate. They'll simply be told to taxi. So as the ground controller, simply say call ready for taxi, or if you're the clearance delivery controller, tell them to contact ground for taxi. O'Hare clearance pattern including helicopters. November 123 Alpha Bravo, O'Hare delivery, squawk 1200, contact ground 121.9 for taxi. Or November 123 Alpha Bravo, O'Hare ground, squawk VFR, call for taxi. The gist of that there is we're going to keep them on a VFR beacon code for the pattern. Ground control jurisdiction from the SOP. Ground has jurisdiction of all movement areas depicted in Appendix D in the SOP, excluding runways. Taxiway pop-up between the two runways here, 10 center, 10 left. That always belongs to tower. And an east flow taxiway Yankee here. So aircraft that would be landing 10 right would stay with the tower controller on Yankee, onto Papa, and you won't talk to those aircraft until they cross 10 left to Charlie, Charlie, if they're going to the terminal core. Taxiways Delta and North, when local control North is decombined, you can see the purple would then belong to local control North if local control North is decombined. And the same if local control south is decombined. Taxiways Quebec, Quebec, uniform, uniform, Romeo, Romeo, and south when local control south is decombined. All runways are considered active unless coordinated with local control. Do not issue taxi instructions that require unnecessary runway crossings. Provide positive control of aircraft pushbacks that may enter movement areas. Generally speaking, the gray here in the middle is really all that you're going to do as the ground controller, depending upon how many towers we have online and what the splits look like. Typically, I think it's easiest for the tower controller to just retain the aircraft on these purple taxiways or the green taxiway until crossing all runways. It just makes things easier for coordination, or the lack of the requirement for coordination. Taxiway restrictions, Alpha and Bravo around the terminal there. No combination of the following heavy aircraft shall pass one another while taxiing on an Alpha and Bravo. Wingtip clearance does not exist. However, wingtip clearance exists for any of these two aircraft to pass on the Alpha and Bravo bridges up here to the northeast. And of course, the airport is under constant construction, and we'll probably have to do multiple videos and SOP releases as time goes by. Also, when you're thinking about the clockwise and counterclockwise flow of these taxiways, the clockwise flow of Alpha really extends to uniform, and the counterclockwise flow of Quebec and Bravo. Taxiway Alpha runs clockwise, including, we'll say, uniform, and Bravo runs counterclockwise, including Quebec. Sierra 1 is one way for aircraft exiting the southeast cargo area down here to the south, with Sierra 2 as the aircraft entering the southeast cargo area. Taxiways Papa 1, Papa 2, Papa 3, Papa 5, Papa 6 are one-way northbound from runway 10 center, 28 center. And Taxi Echo 3 is one-way taxiway westbound from runway 9 center to 7 center. Any other questions on one-way taxiways can be found in the appendix in the SOP, along with these next few slides. Restrictive turning movements. Appendix F to see all possible turn restrictions for the following aircraft. Heavy aircraft in red. Aircraft larger than 737s in blue and purple if the restriction applies to all aircraft. 748 A380 aircraft report appendix G for approved locations of these aircraft. And intersection of taxiway November Echo Echo Lima Lima. No aircraft may be on taxiway November east of November 5 holding short of Echo Echo while any aircraft is utilizing Lima Lima to enter the terminal core. What you'll see in those cases is you don't have the wingtip clearance. So we can run through some of these appendix here in the SOP. We've got our east and west delivery and ground jurisdictions. Our oversized prohibited turns, as we mentioned, the red or the purple or the blue. Feel free to pause the video and take a look at these closer. Our 748 and A380 taxiway restrictions. We also have some standard taxiway routing for west and east flow of A380 aircraft. ILS and glide slope critical areas, the OCS areas, and the MVA chart. So feel free to have a look at those as we go through the slides or as you go through your training. For the taxiways, November Echo Echo Lima Lima, that's basically just for wingtip clearance. You can take a look at the airport diagram and see how that works. And Alpha 18, when clearances were given to gate Kilo 18 and or Kilo 20 to push back on a taxiway Alpha, no aircraft may be given clearance to use taxiway Alpha 18 until pushback operations are complete. Protected surface areas, ILS critical areas, protected ILS critical areas when weather conditions are less than reported ceiling at 800 feet or visibility less than 2 miles and arrival aircraft are inside the power approach fix. See Appendix I. OCS areas are restricted to restrict the movement of aircraft in close proximity to active runways that could become a hazard to arriving and departing aircraft and are enforced at all times in Appendix J. Outbound ground control. Taxi departing aircraft to departure runways and other aircraft as coordinated. Provide taxi instructions aircraft with departure delays. Coordinate intersection departures when operationally advantageous. Establish an efficient departure sequence of aircraft which are able to depart while complying with current and flow control restrictions. Coordinate non-center intersections or other unusual requests with local. Inbound ground control. Input gate information to the ASD scratch pad. We covered this in the ASD video on our YouTube channel. Basically, you can right-click an aircraft, brings up a menu, you can enter scratch pad information. Your instructor in your sweat boxes can also help you show you how to do that. Taxi arrival aircraft to their gate or parking location and other aircraft as coordinated. Provide taxi and or holding instructions to aircraft repositioning on the airport. Provide instructions to aircraft requesting pushback onto movement areas. Ground control north, this of course would be decombined. Then we're talking about north of runway 9 center. Input gate information to ASD scratch pad. Clearance limits instruct aircraft to hold short of runway 9 center, 27 center. So that aircraft would have vacated 27 right or 9 left. And we're going to ask them to hold short of 9 center or 27 center. Aircraft shall be instructed to monitor north local control prior to reaching the clearance limit, because tower would then have them cross that runway. When appropriate, ground control north shall ensure aircraft are established on taxiway Delta prior to instructing aircraft to monitor north local control. Ground control south, this would be decombined with local control south for runway 10 right. Input gate information to the ASDX scratch pad. Unless otherwise coordinated, normal taxi clearance limits while landing 10 right shall be as follows when not ILS critical. Papa short of Charlie Charlie. Instruct aircraft to monitor south local control prior to reaching Golf Golf. And ground control south shall ensure aircraft have executed the turn on a Papa from Yankee prior to instructing aircraft to monitor south local. When ILS critical, taxiway Sierra Sierra short of 10 center, aircraft should be instructed to monitor south local prior to reaching Sierra Sierra, and ground control south shall ensure aircraft have executed the turn on at vZAU 1 from vZAU prior to instructing aircraft to monitor south local control. I've never seen this position open. We probably never will. Especially if we have local control south on. Remember the taxiways that they own down there anyway. Runway assignments are based on the initial fix of aircraft's flight plan on the O'Hare departure, so any east flow and west flow. Now these are slightly dated. These were created when 9 center at Foxtrot was a primary and east flow because 9 right was under construction. So anywhere it says 9 center Fox, you could likely just instead say 9 right at Sierra Sierra. And so you can see the departure fixes, first fix those aircraft have filed and which runway they should be assigned in both an east and a west flow. Some standard taxi diagrams to help you out as the ground controller. In an east flow, we're going to land either 9 left, 9 center, 10 center, or 9 center, 10 center, 10 right. In any case, if the aircraft lands 9 left, best practice would be Mike to Delta to Tango Tango, holding short or crossing. Holding short, crossing, and then over to ground. And ground can then get the aircraft on Tango Tango Alpha to the gate. Personally, I think it's easiest for the tower controller to just retain this aircraft until all runways are crossed and then over to ground control. I really do think that in between 10 left and 9 right is really where you're going to work your aircraft. Otherwise, you just got to do a lot of extra coordination. Landing 9 center, very similar to 9 left. Exiting Echo, Tango, Tango, cross 9 right eventually, and then Tango, Tango, Alpha to the gate. Remember, Alpha and uniform run essentially clockwise. Landing 10 center. Aircraft will typically exit left, taxi west on Papa, stay with the tower, cross 10 left to Charlie Charlie, and then over to the ground controller. 10 right, typically northeast on Yankee, west on Papa, with South Tower, crossing at Charlie Charlie to the gate with ground. Taxiing out to these runways from the terminal, likely going to be Alpha, Uniform, possibly Uniform 3 or Uniform 2, or all the way up to Golf, taxiing west on Golf, crossing 4 left, holding short 9 right at Sierra Sierra, or going to 9 center at Foxtrot Foxtrot. Your GA aircraft, regardless of direction or first fix, it's usually easiest to just take them off of 9 center at Foxtrot Foxtrot. And then from the terminal, typically out Alpha 15 November Delta Delta for 10 left departures, 10 left at Delta Delta. Aircraft from the southeast cargo ramp out Sierra 1 Uniform crossing 10 center at Foxtrot, taxiing west on Papa, departing 10 left at Delta Delta. And it's usually easiest to just APREC those aircraft off of 10 left as opposed to all the way up to 9 center or 9 right. But it would be possible to take them west, possibly all the way to Zulu, crossing up to those runways there at Zulu. Might be the easiest way to get those aircraft there. And then in a west flow, our landers will be primarily 28 center, 27 center, then 27 right, if we're doing west flow triples. With your primary runway being 28 center, we're going to land, taxi east on Papa, crossing at Golf Golf, November Lima Lima to the gate, picking up either Bravo or Alpha depending on the gate location. Out of the southeast cargo ramp, we would typically taxi out, Foxtrot, cross, Papa, maybe full length, or departing at Echo Echo. Landers at 27 right, 27 center are going to taxi. You can see the red routing there via Zulu. And then either eastbound on Echo, crossing at Tango Tango, or Golf. They could taxi all the way east on Golf to Tango Tango Alpha, or even come around in Quebec Bravo, that direction. GA aircraft, probably typically best to just depart 27 center, 27 left. And of course from the terminal we've got Alpha 13 or Alpha 15 via November 5, runway 28 right, or via picking up Bravo here, or Alpha from the north, pick up Victor out to runway 22 left, or even Victor full length for 28 right. That essentially completes our slideshow ATC 104 for O'Hare Ground. Any questions you can ask your instructors or post in the Discord.